Have you ever found yourself caught in the whirlwind of daily life, wondering how to find true inner peace amidst the chaos? The noise of responsibilities, expectations, and the relentless pace of modern living can often leave us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from ourselves. Yet for thousands of years, Buddhism has offered profound teachings that guide us toward a path of acceptance, detachment, and ultimately inner tranquility. These timeless principles remind us that what is meant for us will come at the right time, and what is not meant for us will naturally fall away. But how do we cultivate this sense of trust and surrender in a world that constantly demands our attention and energy? Through the wisdom of ancient stories and parables, Buddhism teaches us the art of letting go. It shows us that clinging to what doesn't belong to us, whether it's material possessions, relationships, or even our own rigid expectations, only leads to suffering. Letting go, however, doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. On the contrary, it's about cultivating a profound sense of freedom that allows us to fully engage with life as it unfolds. Detachment, in this sense, is not a rejection of the world, but a deeper way of embracing it. It's about releasing our grip on outcomes and trusting the natural flow of life, so we can live with greater presence and clarity. Imagine a leaf floating down a river. It doesn't struggle against the current or try to control its path. It simply moves with the water, trusting that it will arrive where it needs to be. In the same way, when we learn to let go of our need to control every detail of our lives, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. This doesn't mean we stop caring or taking action. Rather, we act with intention and then releases our attachment to the results. Join us on this journey of self-discovery and personal transformation. Together, we'll explore how to apply these ancient teachings in our modern lives. We'll learn how to navigate challenges with grace, embrace the present moment with gratitude, and cultivate a fuller, more conscious existence. By integrating these principles into our daily routines, we can begin to experience life not as a series of struggles, but as a beautiful, ever-unfolding dance. Let's take the first step toward a more serene and meaningful way of living. The art of detachment, freeing the soul. Once upon a time, in a quiet monastery nestled among mist-covered mountains, a young monk received a precious gift from his master, a delicate porcelain cup. The cup was exquisite, its surface adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to tell stories of their own. The monk cherished it deeply, admiring its beauty and craftsmanship. It became more than just a cup to him. It was a symbol of his master's wisdom, a reminder of his journey, and a source of comfort in his daily life. He kept it by his side at all times, careful not to let it out of his sight. But one day, as he was preparing tea, the cup slipped from his hands and shattered into 1,000 pieces on the stone floor. The monk froze, his heart heavy with a sudden emptiness. He felt as though a part of him had broken along with the cup. When his master entered the room and saw the shattered pieces, the monk expected disappointment or even reprimand. But instead, the master simply smiled and said, "That cup was already broken from the beginning." At first, the monk didn't understand. How could something so beautiful, so whole, have been broken from the start? But as he reflected on his master's words, he began to see a deeper truth. The cup, like all things in this world, was impermanent. Its beauty, its usefulness, even its existence were fleeting. The master's words were not meant to dismiss the monk's feelings, but to remind him of a fundamental truth: nothing in this world lasts forever. This story illustrates a core teaching of Buddhism, the concept of detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference or resignation, as though we should stop caring about the people and things we love. But true detachment is not about shutting ourselves off from the world. It's about understanding and accepting its impermanent nature. It's about recognizing that clinging to what is transient only leads to suffering. How many times do we hold on tightly to things, people, or situations, fearing their loss? We cling to relationships that no longer serve us, to expectations that bring only frustration, and to memories that keep us chained to the past. We convince ourselves that if we let go, we will lose something irreplaceable. But in truth, it is the act of holding on that imprisons us. Letting go, on the other hand, sets us free. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment. We cling because we seek security in a world that is constantly changing. We want to believe that the things we love will always be there, that the people we care about will never leave, and that the circumstances we enjoy will remain the same. But the truth is, life is in a constant state of flux. Seasons change, relationships evolve, and even our own bodies and minds transform over time. When we resist this natural flow, we create unnecessary pain for ourselves. True security, then, is not found in the external world, but in our ability to accept impermanence. When we understand this, we stop seeing losses as tragic and start living with a sense of lightness and freedom. Think of it this way. A river does not cling to the water that flows through it. It doesn't try to hold on to the same drops as they rush downstream. Instead, it allows the water to move freely, trusting that new water will always come. In the same way, we can learn to flow with life rather than resist its changes. This doesn't mean we stop caring or taking action. It means we act with intention and then releases our attachment to the outcomes. We learn to appreciate what we have while it's here, without demanding that it stay forever. And when change comes, as it inevitably will, we meet it with grace rather than fear. Consider the times in your own life when you've experienced loss. Perhaps it was the end of a relationship, the loss of a job, or the passing of a loved one. In those moments, it's natural to feel pain and grief. But if you look back, you might also notice that life often brings something new and unexpected in the wake of loss. A door closes and a window opens. A chapter ends and a new one begins. Yet, in the moment, blinded by fear and anxiety, we often fail to see this bigger picture. We become so focused on what we've lost that we miss the opportunities for growth and renewal that lie ahead. Practicing detachment doesn't mean giving up what we love. It means loving without possession, without dependence. It's about enjoying what we have while understanding that it might not always be there. It's about savoring the present moment without demanding that it last forever. When we love in this way, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. We learn to appreciate the beauty of a flower without needing to pluck it from the ground. We learn to cherish a moment without trying to freeze it in time. And when change comes, as it inevitably will, we can meet it with peace rather than resistance. Detachment is not an easy practice. It requires us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. It asks us to let go of the illusion of control and to trust in the natural flow of life. But the rewards are profound. When we practice detachment, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace and freedom. We learn to live with an open heart, fully present in each moment, without being weighed down by the past or anxious about the future. We discover that true happiness is not found in holding on, but in letting go. This journey of detachment is also a journey of acceptance. Once we learn to let go, we need to learn to embrace what life brings us without resistance or struggle. Acceptance is the next step on this path, and it is just as important as detachment. Together, they form the foundation of a more mindful and fulfilling way of living. They teach us to flow with life rather than fight against it, to find beauty in the present moment, and to trust in the wisdom of the universe. As we continue to explore these teachings, we'll delve deeper into the practice of acceptance and how it can transform our lives. We'll learn how to navigate challenges with grace, how to find meaning in the midst of change, and how to cultivate a sense of inner peace that remains unshaken by the ups and downs of life. This is not just a philosophical journey, it's a practical one. It's about taking these ancient teachings and applying them in our modern lives so we can live with greater clarity, compassion, and joy. So, let us take the first step together. Let us begin to loosen our grip on the things we cling to and open our hearts to the beauty of impermanence. Let us learn to love without possession, to live without fear, and to embrace each moment as it comes. In doing so, we will discover a profound truth, that the key to inner peace lies not in holding on, but in letting go. And in that letting go, we find the freedom to truly live, radical acceptance, embracing reality. As it is one day, a disciple approached his master with a heavy heart and said, "Master, I suffer because life is not how I want it to be." The master listened patiently, his eyes filled with compassion, and then he smiled gently. "You suffer," he replied, "not because life is not how you want it to be, but because you resist what is. Life is not here to please you, it is here to teach you." These words struck the disciple deeply, and he began to reflect on their meaning. He realized that his suffering was not caused by the circumstances themselves, but by his resistance to them. This simple yet profound insight is at the heart of acceptance, a practice that can transform our relationship with life itself. Acceptance is often misunderstood. It is not about resignation or giving up, nor is it about passively enduring hardship. True acceptance means seeing reality clearly, without filters or self-deception. It means acknowledging what is happening, even when it's painful or uncomfortable, and choosing to meet it with an open heart and a calm mind. But why is this so difficult for us? Why do we struggle to accept what life brings our way? The answer lies in the stories our minds create. We have ideas about how things should be, how people should act, and how life should unfold. When reality doesn't align with these expectations, we feel frustrated, disappointed, or even angry. We convince ourselves that if we fight hard enough, we can force life to fit into the mold we've created. But life doesn't work that way. It is fluid, unpredictable, and often beyond our control. And the more we resist it, the more we suffer. Imagine you're standing on a beach, watching the waves roll in. Suddenly, you see a massive wave approaching. You have a choice. You can try to stop it, curse it, or resist it. Or you can dive into it and let it carry you. The wave isn't going to disappear just because you don't like it. It will come, whether you resist it or not. The same is true for the situations in life that we cannot control. Resisting them only creates more suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows us to flow with life rather than fight against it. It doesn't mean we stop caring or taking action. It means we stop wasting energy on what we cannot change. This doesn't mean we should resign ourselves to what hurts or harms us. Acceptance is not about tolerating abuse, injustice, or unhealthy situations. It's about recognizing what is happening without denying it or dramatizing it. Once we accept reality as it is, we can respond more clearly and effectively. We can decide what action to take, if any, from a place of calm and clarity, rather than fear or frustration. Acceptance, in this sense, is a powerful tool for navigating life's challenges. Consider the story of the archer. An expert archer can calculate the trajectory of his arrow with precision, but there are factors beyond his control. The wind, the humidity, the movement of the target. He can lament these variables, become frustrated, and let his emotions cloud his judgment, or he can accept them, adjust his aim, and shoot again. In life, many things are out of our control. Other people's actions, external circumstances, even our own emotions at times. Acceptance allows us to focus on what we can do, rather than wasting energy on what we cannot change. It empowers us to adapt, to find creative solutions, and to move forward with grace. Sometimes we resist reality because we feel that acceptance means losing. We fear that if we accept a difficult situation, we are giving up or admitting defeat. But the opposite is true. Acceptance gives us power. It frees us from the weight of pointless struggle. It allows us to let go of what we cannot change and focus our energy on what is within our grasp. Acceptance is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom and strength. It takes courage to face reality as it is, without sugarcoating or denial. And it is only when we do this that we can truly begin to heal and grow. The secret to acceptance lies in changing the questions we ask ourselves. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What is this teaching me?" This simple shift in perspective changes everything. It allows us to find meaning and learning in what once seemed like only suffering. It helps us see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to happiness. Acceptance also means embracing ourselves, our light and our shadows. Often, our greatest struggle is not with the world around us, but with ourselves. We judge ourselves harshly for our mistakes, our imperfections, and our past decisions. But punishing ourselves doesn't help. It only keeps us stuck in cycles of guilt and shame. True transformation begins when we accept ourselves as we are, with all our flaws and vulnerabilities. Only then can we begin to change. The monk who broke his porcelain cup understood this deeply. When his master told him that cup was already broken from the beginning, he realized that everything in life is impermanent. The cup, like all things, was destined to change. And in that understanding, he found peace. We too can find peace when we stop resisting what is inevitable. When we accept that life is a series of changes, some joyful, some painful, we can meet each moment with equanimity. And it is in that equanimity that trust is born. Trust that what is meant for us will come, and what is not will go. Trust that life, in all its unpredictability, is unfolding exactly as it should. Acceptance is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. It requires us to continually let go of our expectations and judgments, to meet each moment with openness and curiosity. It asks us to embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be. And in doing so, it opens the door to a deeper sense of peace, freedom, and joy. So, let us take the first step together. Let us begin to practice acceptance, not as a passive surrender, but as an active choice to engage with life fully and authentically. In doing so, we will discover that the key to inner peace lies not in controlling life, but in accepting it. And in that acceptance, we will find the freedom to truly live. Buddhist stories about fate and trust in life. In a remote village, nestled among rolling hills and lush forests, there lived an old monk, known for his wisdom and serenity. One day, a magnificent wild horse appeared in his garden, its coat gleaming in the sunlight. The villagers, who had gathered to witness this extraordinary sight, exclaimed, "What luck you have! A horse like this is a great treasure. It will bring you wealth and honor." The monk, however, remained calm and replied, "Luck or misfortune? Who knows?" The villagers were puzzled by his response, but soon went about their day, leaving the monk to tend to his new companion. Not long after, the monk's son, eager to tame the wild horse, attempted to ride it, but the horse, still unaccustomed to human touch, threw him off, and the young man fell, breaking his leg. The villagers, hearing of the accident, rushed to the monk's home and lamented, "What misfortune! Now your son cannot work or help you. This horse has brought you nothing but trouble." The monk, with the same serene expression, simply said, "Luck or misfortune. Who knows?" The villagers shook their heads, unable to comprehend his calm demeanor in the face of what they saw as a clear tragedy. Weeks passed, and the village was thrown into turmoil as war broke out in the region. Soldiers arrived to draft all the young men of the village into the army. Families wept as their sons were taken away, but the monk's son, still recovering from his injury, was unable to go. The villagers, now witnessing this turn of events, returned to the monk and said, "What luck you have! Your son has been spared from the horrors of war." Once again, the monk smiled gently and replied, "Luck or misfortune, who knows?" This ancient story, often shared in Buddhist teachings, carries a profound lesson. Life unfolds in ways that are far beyond our limited perception of the present moment. We are quick to label events as good or bad, lucky or unfortunate, based on how they appear to us at the time. But the truth is, every event is part of a larger tapestry, interconnected in ways we cannot always see. What seems like a misfortune today may lead to a blessing tomorrow, and what appears to be a stroke of luck may bring challenges we never anticipated. The monk's wisdom lies in his ability to remain open to the unfolding of life, free from the need to judge or control it. Think about your own life for a moment. How often has something that initially seemed like a setback or a loss eventually led you to a better place? Perhaps you lost a job and felt devastated, only to discover a new career path that brought you greater fulfillment. Maybe a relationship ended, leaving you heartbroken, but in time, you realized it was the best thing that could have happened, as it made space for new and healthier connections. Life has a way of guiding us, even when we cannot see the bigger picture. When we learn to trust its process, we stop suffering over what we don't understand in the moment. Buddhist teachings often remind us that the universe operates with a wisdom far beyond our comprehension. Nothing is taken from us without reason, and nothing comes to us by accident. What leaves our lives does so because its cycle has ended, and what enters does so because we are ready to receive it. But to truly understand and embrace this truth, we need patience and an open mind. We must be willing to let go of our need for immediate answers and trust that everything unfolds in its own time. There is another story often shared in Buddhist circles that illustrates this point beautifully. A man was walking through a forest when he noticed a butterfly struggling to break free from its cocoon. Moved by compassion, the man decided to help. He carefully opened the cocoon, allowing the butterfly to emerge without effort. But to his dismay, the butterfly's wings were weak and underdeveloped. It could not fly and eventually perished. What the man did not realize was that the struggle to break free from the cocoon was an essential part of the butterfly's development. The effort required to emerge strengthened its wings, preparing it for flight. By intervening, the man had unknowingly robbed the butterfly of its chance to grow. This story serves as a powerful metaphor for our own lives. How often do we become impatient, desperate to force outcomes or avoid discomfort? We want immediate solutions, instant results, and quick fixes. But the process, the struggle, the waiting, the uncertainty, is an integral part of our growth. Just as the butterfly needed time to develop its wings, We too need time to learn, heal, and evolve. Rushing the process or trying to bypass it only hinders our progress. Trusting in life does not mean standing still and doing nothing. It means doing our part, planting the seeds, tending to the soil, but without anxiety or the need to control the outcome. It is like the farmer who plants his crop, waters it, and protects it from pests, but does not pull up the plants to make them grow faster. He understands that growth takes time and that everything has its own rhythm. In the same way, we can take action in our lives while remaining open to the natural flow of events. Buddhism invites us to adopt the perspective of an observer. Instead of resisting or fighting what happens, we can approach life with curiosity and openness. We can ask ourselves, what is this situation teaching me? What can I learn from this experience? Sometimes, the lessons are not immediately obvious. It may take days, months, or even years before we can look back and see how a particular event shaped us or led us to where we are now. But if we trust the process, we will find that everything has had a purpose. Accepting uncertainty is not easy. It requires us to let go of our need for control and to embrace the unknown. But in doing so, we find a profound sense of freedom. We no longer need to live in fear of what might happen or obsess over the future. Instead, we can focus on the present moment, finding joy and meaning in the here and now. We can trust that what is meant for us will come, and what is not will leave. And in that trust, we discover a deep and abiding peace. So, let us take a step back from our judgments and expectations. Let us embrace the wisdom of the old monk and the butterfly, trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it should. In doing so, we open ourselves to a richer, more meaningful existence, one where we flow with life rather than fight against it, and where we find peace in the knowledge that everything happens for a reason. The practice of meditation to cultivate inner peace. In a serene Buddhist monastery, surrounded by the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hum of nature, a young disciple approached his master with a troubled heart. "Master," he said, "my mind is like a whirlwind of thoughts. I try to find peace, but the more I strive, the more restless I become. It feels as though I am trapped in a storm, unable to find calm." The master listened with a kind smile, his eyes reflecting deep understanding. Without a word, he handed the disciple a glass of water filled with dirt and asked him to shake it vigorously. The disciple did as he was told, and the water became murky and turbulent. "Now wait," the master said gently. They sat in silence, watching as the dirt gradually settled to the bottom of the glass, leaving the water clear and still. "This is the mind," the master explained. "If you allow it, clarity comes by itself." This simple yet profound metaphor captures the essence of meditation, one of Buddhism's most powerful tools for cultivating inner peace and understanding the nature of the mind. Meditation is not about forcing the mind to become empty or escaping from the challenges of life. Rather, it is about learning to observe the mind without judgment, allowing thoughts and emotions to arise and pass like clouds in the sky. In our modern world, where we are constantly bombarded by stimuli, notifications, social media, news, and endless responsibilities, our minds are often overstimulated and overwhelmed. Meditation offers us a way to step back from this chaos, to create a space of stillness where we can reconnect with ourselves and find clarity. The benefits of meditation are well documented, both in ancient teachings and modern science. Studies have shown that regular meditation reduces stress, improves concentration, enhances emotional resilience, and even strengthens the immune system. But beyond these tangible benefits, meditation offers something far more profound. It teaches us to develop a healthier relationship with our thoughts and emotions. When we sit in meditation, we begin to notice that our thoughts are not permanent. They come and go, arising and fading like waves in the ocean. This observation helps us understand the principle of impermanence, a core teaching in Buddhism. Nothing in life is static, not our pain, not our joy, not our fears or desires. Everything is in a constant state of flux. By recognizing this, we can learn to let go of our attachment to fleeting experiences and find peace in the present moment. Many people are hesitant to try meditation because they believe their minds are too busy or restless. They say, "I can't meditate because my thoughts won't stop." But the truth is, meditation is not about stopping thoughts. It is about changing our relationship with them. Imagine your mind as a vast sky and your thoughts as clouds passing through. The clouds may come and go, but the sky remains unchanged. In meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. We notice them, acknowledge them, and then gently return our attention to our anchor, often the breath. Over time, this practice helps us cultivate a sense of detachment from our thoughts, allowing us to experience greater peace and clarity. One of the simplest and most accessible forms of meditation is breath meditation. To practice, find a quiet place where you can sit comfortably. Close your eyes and bring your attention to the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your nostrils. Notice the coolness of the air as you inhale and the warmth as you exhale. There is no need to control or manipulate the breath. Simply observe it as it is. If your mind wanders, and it will, gently guide your attention back to the breath without judgment. This practice may seem simple, but its effects can be profound. Over time, it helps us develop focus, patience, and a deeper connection to the present moment. Another powerful meditation practice is the meditation of gratitude. In our fast-paced lives, it is easy to focus on what we lack or what is going wrong. Gratitude meditation shifts our perspective, helping us recognize and appreciate the abundance that already exists in our lives. To practice, take a few minutes each day to reflect on the things you are grateful for. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of nature. As you bring these things to mind, allow yourself to feel the warmth and joy they bring. This practice not only cultivates a sense of contentment, but also helps us develop a more positive outlook on life. Letting go meditation is another transformative practice, particularly useful when we are carrying emotional burdens or struggling with attachment. To practice, sit quietly and bring to mind something that is weighing on you. A worry, a regret, or a difficult emotion. Imagine holding it in your hands, feeling its weight and texture. Then, with each exhale, imagine releasing it little by little. You might visualize it dissolving into the air or sinking into the earth. This practice helps us release what no longer serves us, creating space for peace and healing. As we incorporate meditation into our daily lives, we begin to notice subtle but profound changes. We become less reactive to challenges and more responsive with wisdom and compassion. We find greater ease in navigating the ups and downs of life, and we experience a deeper sense of presence and connection to the world around us. This presence is the key to letting go of our need for control and learning to flow with life, embracing each moment as it comes. Meditation is not a quick fix or a one-time solution. It is a lifelong practice, a journey of self-discovery and transformation. It invites us to slow down, to listen deeply, and to cultivate a sense of inner stillness amidst the chaos of life. Through this practice, we learn to trust the natural flow of life, to find peace in the present moment, and to embrace the beauty of impermanence. So, let us take a deep breath, close our eyes, and begin this journey together. In the stillness, we will find the clarity and peace we seek, letting go of control and flowing with the universe. One day, a disciple stood by the riverbank with his master, watching the water flow steadily downstream. The river moved gracefully, weaving around rocks, bending with the curves of the land, and adapting effortlessly to every obstacle in its path. The master pointed to the water and said, "Look at how it flows without resistance. It doesn't fight the current or struggle against the rocks. It simply moves forward, embracing every change in its journey." The disciple listened intently, sensing there was a deeper lesson in the master's words. The master continued, "We too must learn to flow like the river. Life is not about controlling every detail, but about adapting and moving forward with grace." This simple yet profound observation captures a central teaching of Buddhism: the art of letting go. In our daily lives, we often strive to control everything: our relationships, our careers, our futures, even how others perceive us. We create elaborate plans and cling to expectations, believing that if we can just manage every detail, we can avoid pain and secure our happiness. But life, like the river, is in constant motion. It is unpredictable, ever-changing, and often beyond our control. When we try to hold on too tightly, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. We resist the natural flow of life, and in doing so, we exhaust ourselves and lose sight of the peace that comes from acceptance. Buddhism teaches us that true peace arises when we learn to let go. Letting go does not mean giving up or ceasing to care. It means recognizing that not everything is within our control. We can plant seeds, but we cannot force them to grow. We can love deeply, but we cannot make someone love us in return. We can take care of our bodies, but we cannot prevent illness or aging. Life is a delicate balance of effort and surrender. We do our best, but we must also accept that the outcome is not always in our hands. There is a well-known Buddhist story that illustrates this teaching. A man found himself clinging to the branch of a tree at the edge of a cliff. He was exhausted, his arms trembling from the effort of holding on, but he was too afraid to let go. What he didn't realize was that just below him, there was solid ground. If he had released his grip, he would have landed safely. But his fear kept him trapped, clinging to the branch even as his strength waned. This story mirrors how many of us live our lives. We cling to jobs that drain us, relationships that no longer bring us joy, and expectations that only lead to frustration. We are afraid to let go because we fear the unknown. We worry that if we release our grip, we will fall into chaos or failure. But often, it is the act of letting go that sets us free. So, how do we begin to let go of control? The first step is to accept that uncertainty is an inherent part of life. No matter how much we plan or prepare, there are no absolute guarantees. The problem is not the uncertainty itself, but our resistance to it. When we stop fighting the unknown and instead approach it with curiosity, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We can begin to ask, what opportunities might this change bring? What can I learn from this experience? This shift in perspective allows us to face the future with hope rather than fear. Another way to practice letting go is to recognize that what we perceive as a problem may actually be a doorway to something greater. There are countless stories of people who lost their jobs only to discover a new passion or career path. Relationships that ended made space for deeper, more meaningful connections. Challenges that seemed insurmountable became catalysts for growth and transformation. When we look back on our lives, we often see that the most difficult moments were also the most transformative. Everything is connected in ways we cannot always see in the present moment. Trusting this interconnectedness helps us release our grip on outcomes and embrace the flow of life. Letting go also involves shifting our focus from results to the process itself. We can learn to act, not out of a desire for reward or recognition, but simply because we enjoy the act itself. Think of a painter who creates for the love of art, not for the approval of others, or a child who plays freely, without worrying about winning or losing. When we engage with life in this way, we find a sense of lightness and joy. We begin to live not for the destination, but for the journey. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating this mindset. Through meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. We see our fears and desires clearly, but we do not let them dictate our actions. Meditation helps us discern what we can change and what we must accept. It teaches us to respond to life with wisdom and compassion rather than react out of fear or frustration. Letting go of control does not mean abandoning responsibility or leaving everything to chance. It means trusting that whatever happens, we have the strength and resilience to handle it. It means releasing our resistance to life's changes and learning to flow with them. And when we flow, something beautiful happens. We begin to feel more compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. Letting go is not just about releasing our grip on external circumstances. It is also about freeing ourselves from self-judgment and criticism. It is about embracing our imperfections and recognizing that we, too, are part of the ever-changing flow of life. As we practice letting go, we discover a profound sense of peace and freedom. We learn to navigate life's challenges with grace and to appreciate its beauty with an open heart. Like the river, we become adaptable, resilient, and at ease with the natural rhythm of existence. So, let us take a deep breath, release our grip, and trust the flow of life. In doing so, we will find the peace and joy that come from living in harmony with the world around us. Compassion for oneself and others. A monk was walking along a quiet forest path when he came across a man sitting on the ground, striking his chest and weeping. The man's face was etched with pain, and his cries echoed through the trees. "Master," the man said, his voice trembling, "I have made so many mistakes. I have hurt the people I love, and I cannot forgive myself. I am consumed by guilt and regret." The monk knelt beside him, his presence calm and steady. After a moment of silence, the monk spoke gently. "If a bird breaks its own wing for having made a mistake in flight, how can it ever fly again? Guilt is the stone that weighs us down and stops us from moving forward. Compassion, on the other hand, is the wind that lifts us and allows us to continue." This story beautifully illustrates the transformative power of compassion, one of the most essential teachings in Buddhism. Compassion is not just about extending kindness to others. It is also about learning to be kind to ourselves. Too often, we become our own harshest critics. We replay our mistakes in our minds, punish ourselves for our imperfections, and speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to someone we love. We demand perfection from ourselves, forgetting that growth is a process, not an endpoint. But what does this harshness achieve? Does it help us become better, or does it only deepen our suffering? The truth is, self-compassion is not an excuse to avoid responsibility or growth. Rather, it is the foundation that allows us to change without fear, to learn without shame, and to move forward without being weighed down by the past. In Buddhism, there is a practice called metta bhavana, or loving-kindness meditation. This practice involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill and compassion, first directed toward ourselves and then extended to others. It begins with simple phrases like, "May I be well," "May I be happy," "May I live in peace." At first, this practice may feel awkward or even uncomfortable. Many people struggle to wish happiness for themselves because they feel unworthy or believe they don't deserve it. But the reality is, self-compassion is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Just as a tree cannot grow strong if it is constantly struck, we cannot thrive if we are constantly berating ourselves. Only when we learn to treat ourselves with love and kindness can we truly extend that love and kindness to others. Compassion also involves recognizing that we are all on a journey of learning and growth. No one is born knowing how to navigate life perfectly. We all make mistakes, poor decisions, and choices we later regret. This is part of being human. But if we continue to punish ourselves for the past, we remain stuck, unable to move forward. Compassion allows us to acknowledge our mistakes without being defined by them. It helps us see our imperfections not as failures, but as opportunities for growth. This doesn't mean we justify harmful behavior or ignore the consequences of our actions. It simply means we approach ourselves with the same understanding and patience we would offer a dear friend. It's important to note that compassion does not mean allowing ourselves to be mistreated or taken advantage of. If someone treats us badly, we don't have to accept their behavior. Compassion is not about tolerating harm, but about responding with understanding rather than hatred. We can set boundaries and protect ourselves without resorting to anger or resentment. The difference lies in our intention. When we respond with compassion, we do so not because the other person deserves it, but because we deserve peace. Holding on to anger and resentment only harms us in the long run, like carrying a heavy sack of stones on our backs. There is a Buddhist story about a man who was walking along a road, carrying a large sack filled with stones. He was exhausted, his shoulders slumped under the weight, but he refused to put the sack down. A monk passing by noticed him and asked, "Why are you carrying such a heavy load?" The man replied, "These stones are my grudges and resentments. I carry them to remind myself of the wrongs done to me." The monk looked at him with compassion and said, "Let them go. You don't need to carry them to continue on your path." This story resonates deeply because it reflects how many of us live. We hold on to anger, resentment, and past wounds, believing that by doing so, we are punishing those who hurt us. But in reality, we are only punishing ourselves. The weight of these emotions drains our energy and prevents us from moving forward. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean forgetting what happened or excusing harmful behavior. It means freeing ourselves from the emotional burden that keeps us stuck. As a Buddhist master wisely said, "If you hold a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone, you are the one who gets burned first." Anger and hatred consume us from within, causing more harm to ourselves than to anyone else. But how do we cultivate compassion, especially when we've been deeply hurt? The first step is to understand that everyone acts from their level of awareness. Someone who harms others is likely suffering in some way themselves. This doesn't justify their actions, but it helps us see their behavior as a reflection of their pain rather than a personal attack. The second step is to give ourselves permission to heal. We don't have to carry the wounds of the past forever. We can choose to close that chapter and move forward, not because we are weak, but because we value our own peace and well-being. The third step is to remember that compassion is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It takes immense courage to forgive, to let go of anger, and to choose love over hatred. It requires bravery to release the weight of grudges and step into the lightness of freedom. When we cultivate compassion, our lives begin to change in profound ways. We stop reacting from a place of fear and start acting from a place of love. We become more patient, more understanding, and more open-hearted. This transformation doesn't just affect our relationship with ourselves and others. It also helps us live in greater harmony with the world around us. Compassion is not just a practice, it is a way of being. It is the wind that lifts us, the light that guides us, and the foundation of true inner peace. So, let us take a deep breath, release the stones we've been carrying, and allow compassion to lighten our hearts and our path. In doing so, we will find the freedom and peace we've been seeking all along, integrating Buddhist teachings into daily life. One day, a monk and his disciple were walking through a dense forest, the sunlight filtering through the canopy above. The disciple, his mind restless and filled with questions, turned to his master and asked, "Master, how long will it take me to reach enlightenment?" The master paused, looked at the young disciple with gentle eyes, and replied, "If you walk in a hurry, it will take much longer. If you walk with patience, it will come sooner than you think." This simple yet profound response holds a timeless truth. Transformation is not a race, but a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, nor can it be rushed. It's not about reading a book, watching a video, or instantly grasping a concept. True transformation comes from applying what we learn, day by day, in the small moments of our lives. After all, what good is it to understand that attachment causes suffering if we continue to cling out of fear? What use is it to know the importance of acceptance if we still resist what life brings our way? So, how do we bring these profound teachings into our everyday lives? How do we move beyond seeing Buddhism as a beautiful philosophy and make it a living, breathing part of who we are? The answer lies in practice. Consistent, mindful, and compassionate practice. Here are 6 ways to integrate these teachings into your daily life. 1. Practice detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference or a lack of care. In truth, it is about learning to enjoy without possessing, to love without clinging. When something good enters your life, a joyful moment, a loving relationship, a personal achievement, receive it with gratitude, but without the fear of losing it. When something leaves, a job, a friendship, a phase of life, allow yourself to feel the loss, but without clinging to what is no longer there. Ask yourself, am I holding on to this out of love or out of fear? The answer will guide you. If it's fear, it may be time to let go. Detachment is not about giving up. It's about finding freedom in the present moment. 2. Embrace radical acceptance. Life is full of challenges, difficult situations at work, conflicts with others, or even our own imperfections. Radical acceptance is about facing these realities without resistance. It doesn't mean resigning yourself to hardship or giving up on change. Rather, it means stopping the fight against what already is. When you accept a situation clearly and fully, you create space to respond with wisdom rather than react with emotion. Each morning, ask yourself, what can I accept today? This simple question can shift your perspective and help you approach life with greater calm and clarity. 3. Trust in life's flow. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and that's okay. Every time something doesn't go the way you expected, remember the story of the monk's horse. What initially seemed like misfortune turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Instead of labeling events as good or bad, ask yourself, what lesson is this teaching me? Over time, you'll begin to see that every experience, no matter how challenging, serves a purpose. Trusting in life's flow doesn't mean being passive. It means being open to the unexpected and finding meaning in every twist and turn. 4. Cultivate a daily meditation practice. Meditation doesn't need to be long or complicated to be effective. Even just 5 minutes of conscious breathing each day can make a profound difference. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently guide it back to your breath. Don't expect immediate results. Meditation is a practice, not a quick fix. Over time, you'll notice that you react less to challenges and understand more about yourself and the world around you. Let go of control. We often exhaust ourselves trying to control every detail of our lives, but the truth is, much of life is beyond our control. Like the archer who focuses on shooting the arrow rather than obsessing over the target, we can do our best without fixating on the outcome. If something doesn't go as planned, instead of feeling frustrated, ask yourself, how can I flow with this? Remember, some of the best things in life are unplanned. They happen when we're open to receiving them. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that life will guide you where you need to go. 6. Practice compassion. In every action, compassion is the heart of Buddhism, and it begins with small, intentional acts of kindness. You don't need to perform grand gestures to make a difference. A simple smile, a word of encouragement, or a moment of genuine listening can change someone's day. But compassion isn't just for others. It's also for yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself for every mistake, speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you extend to others. Remember, self-compassion is not selfish. It's the foundation of a healthy, balanced life. Life is a constantly moving journey, and the path to inner peace is not about reaching a destination. It's about walking with awareness, one step at a time. There will be days when you forget these teachings, days when you react with attachment, fear, or frustration. And that's okay. Learning is not linear. It's a process of falling and rising, of forgetting and remembering. What matters is that you come back to these principles again and again, with patience and compassion for yourself. Buddhism is not a theory to be studied. It is a practice to be lived. It's about experiencing life fully, making mistakes, and learning from them. It's about letting go a little more each day, trusting a little more, and living with greater peace and presence. Every day is a new opportunity to apply these teachings, to grow, and to transform. So, take a deep breath, trust the journey, and walk forward with an open heart. The path to enlightenment is not somewhere far away. It's right here, in the way you live your life, moment by moment. If this video has resonated with you, leave a comment below, sharing which lesson touched you the most, and whether you've experienced moments where life reminded you that everything arrives in its own time. We'd love to hear your stories and insights. Thank you for joining us on this journey of growth and self-discovery. Until next time, stay mindful and keep walking the path with an open heart. See you in the next video. Sparkle.